Hello everyone, I'm Eva Jacome. I'm project manager of the think tank Sport and Citizenship. I'm really glad to welcome you for this conference towards sportive and eco-responsible companies that we organize jointly with the partners of both projects, so the Run for Div project and the Move at Work project. I think I saw that last speaker just arrived. Thank you very much. No? Oh, sorry, I thought. So you will be speaker, you don't have the choice. A few words to start about these two projects that are bringing us together today, and to mention the fact that they are both funded by the European Commission and the Erasmus Plus Sport program. I take advantage of this little moment to thank you, Mrs. Vanut, to be with us today. Mrs. Vanut, you are head of the sport unit of the EU Commission. So thank you very much first for the support to this project and for being with us today. So yeah, a few words to start about our two projects. But I will leave the floor later to Clarisse and Victoria, that they will provide you with a bit more details about these two projects. First on the list, the Move at Work project that is led by the European Federation for Company Sport. It's a follow-up project. Previous one was WAC, that maybe some of you took part in or already know a bit. It's the Workplace Active Certification, which rewarded professional organization, as for instance the Commune of Ixelles, in implementing physical activity for their employees. So the idea of this new project, Move at Work, is to build on this previous project and to provide a bit more support to both public and private organization in developing this kind of project toward their employees or developing physical activity within the workplace. To do so, we'll say that the main output of this project is a digital educational program, so an online MOOC, and further support provided by the partners to public or private organization to help them develop this kind of action. And second on the list, the Run for Diversity project that is led by, we change a bit, French Federation for Company Sport that we launched the past year. It's based on a national experiment that was proposed in France since 2014. So it's the Race for Diversity. It's an inter-company race that promotes the value of social cohesion, solidarity, equal opportunity. Basically, you won't be asked to run for 10 kilometers or 50 kilometers. For the one that were there this morning, it's less or more the same mood. It's like 2, 4, 6 kilometers that you run with someone older than you or someone that is your boss in the company to promote this kind of diversity. So the objective of Run for Div is basically to replicate this run in other member countries, but also to go a bit behind this one-shot approach and to, quite the same as the Move at Work project, to try to give tools and support for companies in order to develop this kind of program to promote both physical activity and diversity within the workplace. Why we create these two projects? Probably to answer one of the main concerns when you're talking about sports and health in the European Union, and I think you will definitely explain it better than me, Mrs. Vanut. We are today fighting against the sedentary lifestyle and trying to promote an active lifestyle. And it becomes, on the recent years, I think, a key focus for European policies in the field of sport and health. And in addition, if you take a closer look to the European research and data, you can see that you have this growing number of people that are not engaging in sufficient physical activity. If you compare it with the time that you spend within your workplace, you realize that it's probably something that is quite important and crucial to promote and say, okay, we need to have more sport and physical activity within the workplace because basically we spend a large amount of our time there. So I think it's definitely something that should be promoted and that can be promoted as an important key for European policies in sport and health. I think it's also a subject that is a bit growing on the recent years. You can see that we have more and more companies that are developing, companies or public organizations, as for instance the city, the commune of Ixelles, that are developing this kind of project, this kind of programs for their employees. So that's for sure, more efforts need to be done on this side. But you have, I think we managed to arrive at this moment where it's like developing more and more. So yeah, basically this conference will deal with this idea of highlighting the growing concern for the development of physical activity within the workplace. Will shed also a bit the light on the benefits that sport activities can bring to companies, particularly in fostering diversity and inclusion for all within the workplace. We have Teresa Garcia with us today, that is coming from the University of, sorry, I forgot the name, so University in Madrid, that conduct the study for the Run for Diversity project and will probably give us a bit insight about all these benefits that you can have in developing such activities. And to finish with this a bit long introduction, I hope I didn't lose you. I think it's quite difficult at the moment to develop any kind of project, especially the Run for Diversity project that is promoting and trying to replicate sports events into the EU without taking into consideration climate change and all the environmental sustainability aspect. So that was the main concern of the Run for Diversity project, and that will be something that we will discuss today, is how you can implement and you need to implement within the workplace, within sport activities, these eco-friendly practices and this way of thinking for tomorrow, a workplace that will take in consideration this aspect and that will adapt to climate change, and also the sport practices that definitely also need to adapt. So we'll say that it's the two main subjects of today. So let's discuss it together, and I will start by inviting Mrs. Florent Noxoyer, the head of the sport unit of the EU Commission, and Mr. Cédric Collinet, your director of the International Relations, Research and Sport, Executive Training, sorry, I missed the last part, a bit long, of the General Administration for Sport of the Federation Wallonia-Brussels. I have it fully. Nice. So if you want to join me, and I will just introduce you and ask you a few questions to introduce. Yeah, you can see.
Very wishes.
As you feel like being there, or you? No. I can see you also. If you...
I started to feel sorry after hearing that we sit too much at work.
That was one of my colleagues proposing for having a physical activity, so if someone wants to move at the moment, you don't hesitate. So yeah, thank you very much to both of you for being with us today. I mentioned this increasing sedentary lifestyle phenomenon in Europe, and this desire also, I think, in the European policy to make sport more accessible to all, to anyone that would like to practice. Could you provide a bit more information about the priorities of the EU in the sport field, a bit on this subject that we deal with today?
Yes, of course, with pleasure. I think the sport policy of the European Commission has two main strengths, and one is actually to look at professional sport and make sure this is done in a fair way according to the rules. Then our discussions about the European sport model that has been a lot in the press. But of course, from a public policy perspective, it's important that our policies, our activities reach everyone, so there is a general public interest. And of course, that means that we also look at sport as a means to, as a vehicle for social inclusion, for health, for many other good things, sustainability, so a lot of the topics you have today that are very important. And we can see that things are changing in different ways, and not necessarily in a positive way. I mean, we can cite many, many figures, and if you're interested, I'm happy to point you to those, but they all go in the same direction. There is more and more diseases, heart diseases, other cancer, and there are links that this is related to the lack of physical activity along with other things. The effects of sitting too much are also researched, so the scientific research is there. We also have data at European level that we can use in our policies. But that comes together with a declining physical activity of people and also declining affiliation to clubs and organized sport activities. And I'm sure Cedric will speak more about that. So it's very important to find ways and means to activate people, and I very much welcome what you do to promote sport at work. As you said, people are in the workplace for a big part of their entire life. So that is a really good place to, if you have access there to sport facilities, this can make a really huge difference. And in our policies, we see this. There is a European recommendation on sport and physical activity, and that one of the recommendations in that list is to create space for doing physical activity, such as at the workplace, but also in schools and in community projects. And I will hear more also about the perspective of the city. So this is something we're monitoring and following up, but we can see that somehow we need to accelerate the pace, because the figures are not improving when it comes to physical activity nor the health figures of the population. And I think we even hear very strong signs of health. Sitting is the new smoking, that there should be a warning on the chair, that the chair sitting is bad for you, or even the figures WHO refers to obesity as the pandemic nowadays, and that data could be as bad as COVID or others. So in the policy we need to intensify, and we need to up the ambition, although we know it's not so easy, because there are lots of utilities to promote, raise awareness for this, but the impact is very difficult. So this realization is there. So we need to explore higher on the agenda, and I would say this is the year of elections, and maybe also a year to make politicians aware of this. To hope that sport will be a strong policy in the next Commission mandate for the coming 5 years.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing this with us. And yes, I do think and believe that it's something that needs to be improved and taken in a broader context, where you encourage and you support sport in any part of people's life, like starting from a super young age to elderly people, and through also like proposing sport within the workplace. I think it's definitely something that needs to be improved, and that could be really interesting for encouraging healthy lifestyle. And to take a closer look about like the development of company sport, how does it became a bit something that you're dealing with within the EU Commission, or does it become a bit like something that is a priority or a real subject for you within the EU Commission? I think that you will present after one of a video of the Active Award about the workplace award. So I guess it becomes a bit more and more a subject at the EU Commission also.
Well, our means to make this happen are limited, maybe for our own staff, but as a policy topic, I think the highest contribution we have is to fund projects like what you have, because this is really allows you to act where you should act, where it happens. So in the companies are making a change. We're very happy that we have projects like this, and our role can be mainly to to listen, to come here to the events and I'm here with the colleagues to learn, but also to promote it. And one way of doing that is that every year we hand out awards, and one of the Be Active Awards, and one category is actually Be Active at Work. So this is also our way of giving attention that this is interesting, this is important, and to also use the stories to convince others. And there in the back, Ignacio is nodding because he's the colleague who leads the Active campaign in my team. And if you want to know more about his awards, he can also inform you about it. Unfortunately, we cannot say here's the link and please apply because the call is not yet published, but it can happen any day. And we have a little video that we asked to share. So instead of me talking about what this is, you can actually see the stories tell more than what I can tell. You want everything to be.
The Austrian-based Eversports is more than just software or an application. It is a company that focuses on providing easy access to sports opportunities anytime and anywhere. Its main mission is to contribute to a healthier and more active lifestyle in society through sports, fitness and mindful movement. Eversports not only creates a sporty environment, but also highly values youthful work ethics and team spirit. For its employees, the company offers flexible working options, diverse schedules, monthly sports vouchers, regular company lunches, promoting a healthy work-life balance, and 10-minute sports breaks 3 times a week in the office to get everyone moving during the workday. Additionally, the company supports employees' passion for sports and yoga by providing financial assistance for these activities, regularly organising sports events for team building. Although headquartered in Vienna, Austria, the company has a presence with employees in the Netherlands and Germany.
We also try to support companies on their journey to become a more sportive and active companies, but it's also about employer attractiveness. We are in a market where employees choose where they want to go and the more attractive a company is. And I think sports can be one of those things that help to make the company more attractive.
Thank you very much. I think it was quite a good example of which kind of benefits it can also bring to both the company but also the employees in terms of this good balance between the work and the lifestyle and this promotion of physical activity for sure. I turn to you, Mr. Cédric Collines, or you're the Director of Internal Relations, Research and Sport Executive Training at the ADEPS. I will choose the shorter way. So we are currently in the midst of the Belgian presidency of the Council of the European Union. Can you provide us a bit more information and outline the priorities of this presidency?
Yes, the first priority is the non-organized sport and free physical activity. That's our main subject. Because when you have employees in your company, they go to make running in the lunchtime with other colleagues. That's an organized activity, a non-organized or a self-organized activity. Just with different debate and conference, the subject is more developed since the beginning of the first sense. We have 3 other subjects. That's the big event and the human size of the big events. Because we know that at this moment it's more difficult to find new city, new country. They can organize a world event like Olympic Games of World Cup of football. Thus, how can we another approach, a more human approach of this big event? Another subject is the physical activity and sport practice at local level, because when we are in the city, Normally you have a lot of sport facility. It's more easy to make different sport. But I don't know in other country, but in Belgium, when you live in the campaign, it's more difficult to find different club for different sport. You can make football or tennis table, but after it's more difficult. You need to ride perhaps 20 or 30 kilometers to find a club for other sport. And the last is the place of the woman in sport. And for this subject, we collaborate and we try to make different survey to identify the sport practice for the woman in the lifetime, why the woman makes sport, why the woman stop the activity at different moment of the life, what can we make to come back the woman at the practice. And at this moment we had a survey to the place of women in the board of the federation, the board of club, and in the referee, other different posts that where the woman is not a lot of representative.
Okay, thank you very much for this explanation, and I do think that hearing what you were saying, well, it covers a lot of what we are trying to work on with these two projects. Basically, what you said about the local level, I think is something super relevant also for the subject of sport company, because you can, it's not the same of speaking about Veolia or a huge company proposing sport to his employee, rather and then talk about just a small scale company into we'll say a part of Belgium that is not a big city, and to say, okay, let's organize something for our employees, but we have like 4 or 5 employees, and then maybe thinking about like reaching, proposing the 3 or 4 different companies all together, physical activity for their employees can be something interesting. So I think it's this priority is something that is don't want to say, but like that we can definitely relate with these two projects. What you say also about women and the place of women is definitely something that we try to advocate for within this 140C project, to say that it's maybe offering more option for women or people that are not practicing any more sport for lots of different reasons. And maybe by proposing them company sport, it can be a way of bringing them back to physical activity. So I think it's definitely linked with what we are dealing today. And to go a bit more on this precise subject of the company sport, to your view, how this company sport subject represents a priority and an opportunity to threaten the access for all to sport and physical activity mainly.
This in our politics policy, it's not really a priority for the company, but we recognize and company federations that promote sport in employees. The difficulties is here in Belgium that we have 90% of our company that's small company or very small company. That's under 10 employees and under 1 or 2 employees. And this, it's not easy to give the motivation or the time for the people that can sport practice. But that's
More definitely one of those things that help to make the company more attractive.
That's another way. Sorry.
This it's difficult to find a time, but we know that sometimes for perhaps many people, it's perhaps just the moment when the people can practice when they are in the company, because after they are children, they have social obligations, family, there are a lot of things that we cannot practice after my job day, and it's for me very important to give the possibility to the employee they can practice in the job the job day, because when you come back at home you can
Maybe you will
drive the children to
sport, maybe,
sport,
not practicing
and perhaps to music or other things. And it's important to give the possibility to the employee to practice the job.
Yeah, and I do think that it's like you have several way of supporting this physical activity within the workplace. I think there were quite a good example of you can open the break or like 1 hour break during the lunchtime and say, okay, you want to run, you can go running, and offering them space for taking a shower or something like this. Or you can just say, okay, we have 10 minutes of break every 2-3 hours and make a bit of physical activity. So there is, do think that there are some way, and that you can definitely adapt also to the size and to how many employees you are within the company. So it's, I think, something really interesting. So thank you for sharing with us your priority of your organization and your point of view about this subject. Thank you also for being with us today. It was really nice to have you both. And I will give the floor then to Clarisse and Victoria, so they will be able to present in greater details this two projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so good morning everyone. So for the Run for Diversity project, as Eva already said, is led by the French Federation for Company Sports, and it's based on national pilot experience launching since 2014. So I would like to explain very quickly and very briefly the aim of the project. So there's 3 main points that you need to know, for example. So the first one is to have a report on the good practices, and Teresa do a lot of jobs and some research for these points. After we've got run physically and a race in digital. So there is 4 run in physical, all in Europe. So the first one is in Malta, the second is in Slovenia, the third one is in Latvia, and the last one is in Greece. So it will be a good test, see the race that we made and the work that we made is good. And we've got also a virtual race called the E-Run for Diversity, and it will be in the end of September 2024. So if you want to participate, you can participate in this event. The third aim of the project is to organize 2 conferences to promote the good message of the Run for Diversity project. And the last one is to create the creation of a sustainability circuit of the diversity races. That's, as you can see, it's beyond the project.
And this is all the partner in the Run for Diversity project, and we are some of them there today to participate and present our evolution of the project also. Eller,
I'm Clarissa from the European Federation of Company Sports, and I will present you the Move at Work project. The Move at Work project is also a 3 year project led by the European Federation and co-funded by the European Commission. And I will present you before explain you a little bit more the teaser video to show you what we will achieve and our main goals. So this project is a project just after like Eva already presented, WAC certification. And the purpose of the project is to promote and continue and evaluate the WAC certification. And the certification is relevant and durable tools to a world company in their promotion and development of physical activity in the workplace. And we have today the Commune of Excel will present their action inside their workplace, and also it's one of the first work certifications, so thank you to be there. About our what we will do during the project, we will create a MOOC and medical tools for the company and also organization to know how to promote a company sports and what is the different steps to do, and with a good example, key elements and key data to have a concrete base in the promotion. And also, we would like in this project to promote and support private and public decision maker about physical activity into their business policy. And I just would like to show you our different partners. We also have a website. If you want, you have all the flashcode in your presentation. Just make the program. And we also have a LinkedIn page if you want to follow all our project and the evolution of the both projects. You can follow us. And just to finish my intervention, I would like to give you two key data. And for the project, we think it's really relevant and about company sports. So it's 79% of employers perceive sports as a pull factor. You want to work there. And also 20% of company carry out sport activity in the professional context. So I think these two key data show the importance of the physical activity and what we will do during the both projects to promote this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Victoria and Clarice, for this two presentation. I will continue with this first roundtable, so how sport can promote diversity within the workplace, and I be glad to welcome to discuss it Teresa Garcia Pastori, director at the University Master Degree in Exercise and Nutrition for Health at the University Camilo José Cela in Madrid. Sorry, I forgot the name. Chantal Collet, you are the Director of Culture, Education and Sport of the Commune d'Ixelles. And Peter Bousoutil, you are the Director for Football Social Responsibility at the Malta Employee Sport Association. Thank you very much for being here with us today. If you want to take a seat and to open the mic, or miss the mic. This one is working also usually. Yes, thank you very much for being with us today and to discuss this subject about how you can promote diversity within the workplace thanks to sport. I would like to start with you, Teresa. Teresa, you're working in this project Run for Diversity since a year, less or more now, and you've been developing a study about how sport can be used as a tool for promoting diversity and trying to analyze a bit the first step of the project. And so, can you give us a bit a view of the scope of the study on the role of sport in promoting diversity within the workplace, and how do you conduct this study a bit first?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me to present here. For the French Federation for inviting Camilo José Cela University to join this project because it's very important for us, and we are really conscious about the importance of improving the level of physical activity in population, and we have to join any effort to get these objectives. So sometimes at university we are really far from real life or from the promotion activities. So I think it's very important for these kind of strategies to the European Commission interest of joining university and any other kind of institutions who are involved in this kind of promotion or activities. So it's very good for us. As you know, we were not involved in, or we are not involved in the organization of the races. We are more in the work package 2. And in this work package, we are researching. It's about researching and mapping. And the aim of this part is to research and to find out the scientific evidence about this about diversity and inclusion in the workplace. Through physical activity, exercise, and sport. So in this case, we are searching or we are studying the scientific data published during the last years, and after that we are developing semi-structured interviews to know the activities that they are developing in companies for promoting physical activity, exercise, and sports. Through diversity and inclusion in the workplace, and we are also searching for good practices and good experiences developed to share with the rest of the partners. So after these three objectives, we are developing 3 deliverables. The first one is the panorama of the art. It's research and a review of the literature, scientific literature about this area. And I have to advance that it was scarce. Okay, there is a lot of scientific evidence about the importance of diversity and inclusion in the workplace. There is a lot of research about the importance of physical activity, exercise, and sports in the workplace. But not about the paper or of this issue, the importance of physical activity, exercise, and sports to promote diversity and inclusion in the workplace. So it's very important because the scientific evidence is scarce, and this kind of initiatives are very important to be developed and to be shown to the rest of the members.
Thank you very much for this explanation. And I don't know if you have already a few conclusions to share with us about this role of sport in encouraging diversity in the companies. Maybe a few good practices that you gather and that you would like to underline about the benefit that sport can bring and physical activity can bring to a company in order to develop this diversity approach.
Yeah, one of the main factors, we are on the second part because the first part was the reviewing of the literature. The second part was the semi-structured interviews, and the last one will be the survey, the European survey. But we are working on the European survey because at the moment we are with the second report with the semi-structured interviews. But the result of the semi-structured interviews are very interesting because we have realized that many companies are developing physical activity, exercise and sports promotion or activities, but they used to focus these activities for health, okay? But they don't realize that in an indirect way they are also developing diversity and inclusion in the workplace. So that's one of the reasons, because sometimes they realize when they are doing the interview, because you ask them about diversity and inclusion and they tell you plenty of initiatives they are developing for gender gap, for age gap or disability, and they tell you plenty of initiatives about physical activity and sports, but they don't realize that when they are developing physical activity sports, they are also working on diversity and inclusion. So it's very interesting.
Thank you very much, Teresa. And I think we have a good example through the commune d'Ixelles. Maybe for our first question that was a bit... you want to extend?
Yes.
Yeah, you're okay. Come. Yeah,
So I can show you.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know if I need this, perhaps not, but it's better? Yeah, okay.
Is this working?
Yes.
Perfect. So I will show you
The presentation, so perhaps you have questions after on.
the other one. Yes. So sportive work. So we've had at first motivation and some objectives. So we saw, of course, the obvious benefits of sport to reduce stress, to improve cohesion, to improve well-being, and so on. And we also were totally aware of the impact of diminishing physical activity in Europe. As it was already said, the lack of physical activity is the new tobacco problem in Europe. And we have among our employees increase in heart attacks and increase also in some work accidents and so on. And we wanted to have also a positive approach of some problems present in the organization, such as absenteeism, of some conflicts and disorders, demotivation, and so on, and also a positive impact on individual and collective performance, corporate culture, sense of belonging. In the context, so I'm working in the municipality of Ixelles, so it's in Brussels, it's one employer for a lot of people, and we have 60% of our employees who are workers, that's also quite important to say, plus 850 teachers, and it's a lot of different functions and separate buildings, because we are present in about 40 different buildings, so that's one of the elements we have to cope with. We had also quite a lot of absenteeism, and it's quite going upwards, so it's also something we have to deal with. And the functioning in the municipality was a little bit too separate, each in his own island, and it's a problem of lack of transversality. So we took sport at work as a target, but within a wider strategy. It's not only one project, it's among a wider strategy. That was very important for us. Sport and HR specific working group,
So two departments involved in the projects. Also, the involvement of all politicians and also the direction board. So that was also very important from the beginning on. And we were looking also for professional tips to lift the brackets. So we made interviews with doctors, with healthcare specialists, and so on. And we made also work of networking with adepts, with ambassadors. We were looking for free apps also available on the market. And we made also link with other strategies we already developed within the municipality. For instance, the developing of bikes for the employees. That's also a way to improve his physical activity. And then we developed an action plan. So first, the principle of sport break, because one of the break is to lack of time. So that's something that's coming all the time in the discussions. And so we thought, why is it necessary to have 1 hour sport? You can drag some moments of physical activity during the day. And so you install different kind of habits. When you're waiting for the lift, you can do something like this for a few minutes, or 1 minute is already okay. When you are waiting for your coffee, you can also do some squats, and you can do exercises in different moments of the day. And all our employees, whatever their function, they have right to 2 breaks during the day. And so we developed a lot of incentive to make use of these breaks. You know, the typical cigarette break, the coffee break, the little chat break. That's also these very precious moments in the day. And then we try to improve the habit of doing sport breaks. Also, when you start a meeting, never everybody is there at the same time. You have these 5-10 minutes to wait, and then we install the habit to do some exercises while waiting for the people who are coming a little bit later, and all these kind of little, very, very little things, but to already do something about the culture. And it's not rare to be like this before a lift, just waiting. And then you do it once. It's quite strange, but then you explain why you do that. It's very simple, it's very available, it's free, and already you're doing something. And then you have a weight on your office desk, and when you have a discussion with someone, you take your weight and you just do this. It will not interrupt the work, but it's something you drag in the. So that was the first thing in the action plan. Then we installed also equipments in the hall, in the gates, in the some meeting rooms, a lot of spaces. We installed all these bicycles, treadmills, table tennis tables, and so on. And we have also 4 people. It's not so much, but it's better than nothing. And they are our coach for the available for the employees. So that's our team of coaches. And also organizing specific events, walking, jogging, weekly muscle building and cardio classes. That's every week. We have also participants to the 20 kilometers of Brussels, and we organize very sport afternoon, the whole afternoon
that's once a week, once a year. That's not so much, but it's also a starting point. And now we have people asking for a second session every week and also a second session every year. So we see that it's installing in the habits and the working. And also we make use of the team buildings. So now nobody can organize team building without at least one moment of sport. So that's also a way to, because the team buildings are existing. That's some pictures of our last sports activity in the afternoon. And also to clearly see the breaks and the risks and the problems. Do not ignore them. Just look at them and try to think about it and to find a way to go through it and to advance. And then yes, the timeline will start in 2017, and we are improving. And then when we look at all what we do, we see that it's going forward and it's installing itself in the working habits. So it's working. I don't say that everything we do is a success. Of course, we have sometimes we organize something and it's no success, but something else will work. So it's do not discourage. So continue, go forward, and at least it will work. For instance, for the 20 kilometers first edition, we had 19 participants, and the second time we had almost 40. So I guess this year, I hope we will have 80 participants. Also, something very important is that we try to target on the people who say no sport. I hate sport. I do never sport, because that's something we saw with the ambassadors. When you have ambassadors, they like sports, and so they will propose activities for sport likers, and then you have the soccer. It's not open enough. So we try to improve the system of ambassadors with people who do not like sport and who will find a way to approach differently and perhaps within well-being strategy or avoid the word sport, but more just go walk in the woods. That's already something okay. And we also think about new investments. For instance, staircase program, because that's something existing. We have a lot of staircase, so we would like to make something with the staircase. For instance, in the new buildings, to hide the elevators and to put the staircase in obvious position in the building. And also to make something funny in the staircase, because then you can organize a treasure finding and to have a reward and little things very funny, not to make sport heavy and has something you have to do. And so perhaps it's another way to approach it. And with the equipments, we saw that it's not so evident that you will take the bicycle, for instance, because after 10 minutes you have a problem of sweat, and then people have to take a shower, and it's not available, and then you have a meeting afterwards. So perhaps we have to change something about the equipments. So that's some pictures of the last 20 kilometers. And of course there you have runners, but this time we had more women also, because now the 20 kilometers are also open to the walkers. I'm doing them, the 20 kilometers, I do not run, but I can do it by
working, and it's okay. So, voilà. Sorry for my bad English.
No,
so
it was really
to
nice.
speak English. And then if you have questions, of course, I can answer.
Thank you very much. And yeah, I think we can give a round of applause. I think it was a super good presentation and with a lot of insight of how when you're a commune or even when you're a private organization, you can imagine several ways of proposing sport or physical activity if you don't want to say the word sport. And to your employees, I think you mentioned a lot of different stuff, even like the active design in the staircase can be definitely an easy way of proposing a way of practicing having a physical activity within the workplace in preferring the staircase to the elevator, what you say. So yeah, I think it's full of good ideas that you are developing in the commune, and I will keep these ideas of don't forget to do exercise while you're waiting for your delay colleagues. I just hope they will arrive not 1 hour late, but I think that's a good idea. So thank you very much. I don't know if anyone has a question in the room, or we can keep it for later. I would just give the floor to Peter Boussoutier. Thank you very much for being with us from Malta. Yeah, a few questions about in reaction about what you already heard coming from Teresa and Chantal and your vision about how sport can be a tool also for inclusion and diversity. I think you're also representing the Malta Football Association.
Yes, in fact, I'm here on two,
Yeah.
on two strands. Yeah.
Okay.
I am the Director of Football Social Responsibility at the Malta Football Association. I'm also coordinating some projects for the Malta Employee Sports Association and for a number of other associations, because even though I completely do not come from the world of sport, but I found that sport and physical exercise has this ability of getting people together. Very often we were talking about this relationship of workplace and people and cultural relationship and well-being. You find that people, the first time they talk to each other in a workplace might be in a social activity or in a sports activity. And as Chantal was saying as well, the idea of having sports at the workplace, the idea of getting people to do something at the workplace is not that complicated. We're in a room this size. If we decide now to get up, all of us, and do a small race, and do a musical chair kind of race, change chair or whatever, that's already a 5-minute physical exercise, chum boom, and it's done. And I was watching as well, I think in one of the videos, some employees were doing the plank in their workspace. You know, that's a very good, strong core exercise. I'm not a sports person, by the way. I'm repeating what I heard. But if we decide to do it now, all of us, it does make a bit of a difference. That idea also of doing stupid physical things while you're working, sitting down or whatever, that's also all works and also very important. Getting back to why I'm here, first of all, thank you for having us as MESA and also as MFA. The Malta Football Association and MESA have both benefited from a number of EU-funded projects, in particular projects which are about inclusivity. In the case of MESA, the Round for Diversity. In the case of the Malta Football Association, I think we've done over the past 5-6 years at least 4 or 5 projects, thanks also to the funding from the EU Directorate of Sports, from Erasmus+. And these were all concentrated on the integration of a person using sports, not necessarily because they want to do sports, because very often in the places where we go, or the places where we work with, whether it's in a workplace, whether it's in a correctional facility, whether it's in an old people's home, people, the first thing they tell you is, I don't want to do football, I'm not interested. It's okay, let's start talking. Then all of a sudden, casually, you let a ball go, in our case, or you use or a tennis ball, or basketball, whatever. I find football a bit more accessible. Why? Because from all the sports, whether we like it or not, it's the one which is mostly widely known and easiest to do. Right now, we throw this bottle on the floor and it becomes a ball. That's a post, that's a post, the other door, and we can divide into teams and we can have a match. It's a simple pass. We can do walking football. Okay, in Mesa, for example, we do other sports. We're involved in basketball, in tennis, in darts, in rugby, in snooker. But the greatest amount of teams that we have are football teams. We have a league of over 30 teams, all employees, all employers that come from as different as we have in the police, have their own football team. We have a team of refugees who works with us at the Motor Football Association, who have their own football team. So we kind of overlap the things that we do there. Why is this all important at the end of the day? Because it's a question of well-being. It's a question that sometimes people say you have a problem, just get up, go walk, get up from your seat, don't stay there. It doesn't have, I mean, even if you just run around the block or just walk, that in itself makes you feel better. I know because it works a bit on me. I'm the kind of person who goes up and down in my moods. But normally when it's like that, I just tend to sweat it out and it helps. At work, it helps because it integrates, it socializes people. So, and again, it doesn't really have to be that complicated. Ideally, at some point in time, it has to be regularized as well. There should be a policy that at a workplace, like you have your break, there also needs to be a sports break. For example, at the Motor Football Association, I've pushed forward that on Thursdays, the last working hour is a football match. For whoever wants to come, you don't necessarily have to play football. You can just come there, run around. We work a lot on the mixed gender on doing sports in a mixed gender form because it's not competitive. So we have mixed gender teams that participate in other leagues that play just to play or that just do physical exercise. For example, we even, at the end of the day, for us, it's not the promotion of the sport per se, but it's the promotion of this sense of getting people to do something together.
Yeah.
And what's easier than that than doing something which is physical and which involves some sort of exercise?
Yeah, I think it's like definitely another example of how we can bring people together through just physical activity or through a football game that you organize within the federation. And just a question about like you were mentioning these 40 teams of several like companies or organization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Sorry.
Yeah. How do you notice like a change in the way that people exchanging, or even within your company, like during this football game, did you notice like more interaction or?
I'm going to say the obvious because it does, yes, make a change. Sometimes tempers play as well. It's not always happy-go-lucky. So I mean, you do have situations where you have within the workplace and you have a sports activity, whether it's table tennis or darts, and you get people, letting off steam. But even that, in a way, the letting off steam concept in physical exercise is a positive. We're quite happy with the way and now I'm talking about the Motor Employees Sports Association, the kind of feedback we get from the employers and the employees. Okay, some use it as a means of sporting, I'm inventing a word here because I don't think it even exists, sporting through working. Why? Because the games or the activities of the sports are organized during the working hours. So it's an incentive, why not? You know what I mean? So instead of working at 3 o'clock, because normally the games start at 3 o'clock and normally a working day would finish at 5 o'clock, at 3 o'clock, everyone leaves, who's involved, those who aren't don't, of course, and they go off to play their games, whether it's darts, whether they're participating in an athletics fields competition, whether it's a football game. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing one more time this good ideas of how we can develop within a company, within a city, a program toward your employees for having more physical activity, and now we can bring also something not only to your employees but also like to the company or to your organization in a broader way, to say like, okay, we will have probably a more league team and people that didn't used to talk to each other before, like what you say earlier, Chantal, about like people working in different teams and not having this transversality aspect. maybe for sport you can add it and you can have more people talking to each other, developing transnational. You understood? Sorry.
For example, I say this in my English, the Web Foundation, one of our projects, which is funded by the Web Foundation, we work with kids who have mental disabilities or within the spectrum of autism, or who are youths who come from particularly very difficult backgrounds. It takes time, but over an arc of time, the physical activity, whatever sports it is, in our case it's football, okay, but whatever, it tends to then shed off inhibitions, shed off any sense of anger, any sense of not wanting to do something, and that eventually after the third, fourth, fifth week, you have to keep trying, of course, there you see this marked improvement in the generic, in the way that they interact socially amongst themselves.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for this really nice presentation, and thank you for being with us today. I will conclude this roundtable and switch to next one about the eco-responsibility way of approaching an event. Okay, thank you very much for this really nice exchange. We are, and thank you to the you kind of thank you, thank you very much. Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much. Bye. And yeah, we are going back to what we discussed earlier during the introduction. That is quite difficult at the moment to talk about any kind of sport event or even like sport practices without taking into account the eco-responsibility and need into your event and this need of adapting to the climate change basically. So it was something that was really important for the Run for Div project, because there was this aspect of organizing a race all around Europe. So of course it was something that we took in account and that we would like to discuss today also, how you can integrate this eco-responsibility into your event, and how also it's something that we defend a lot at Sport and Citizenship, how sport can be used as a tool to raise awareness about climate change. So both these two aspects of adapting sport and in another way using sport as a way of raising awareness. So to discuss it today, I will be glad to welcome Frédéric Delannoy, you're the National Technical Director of the French Federation for Company Sport. Younes Nezar, you're the coach captain of the Climate Workout, and you're also the co-founder of an association called Climate Sportif. And Clara Gauthier, you are the head of the EU affairs of the think tank Sport and Citizenship. Thank you very much to the three of you for being with us today to discuss this aspect. I already give a few elements to start this front table and yes, this need of integrating eco-responsibility. I would like first to give the floor to Frédéric Delannoy as the National Technical Director of the French Federation for Company Sport. How do you see a bit this eco-responsibility within the federation, and how do you integrate these eco-sustainability also issues into diversity-related sporting event?
That's not easy. I'm not sure I can be the one who can tell you what you have to do, just an experience of what we try to do, because it's not so easy, as I said. First of all, company sports is, and it has been told by some of the recent speakers, is a good tool because you make sport on the workplace. So first of all, you don't have to move to go to sport. So it's one of the tools you can use. After that, we try, when we organize a diversity run, for example, to have a possibility to go close to your job, to run, to walk, but also to organize something at the
European level with tools like digital tools and sports workplace within the workplace is also sports we can use by digital tools a lot. It's not the only thing you can do, because if you make sport only by digital tools, it's difficult because you don't have the cohesion, your social relationship we spoke about before, but it's one of the way you can do it. When we work with companies, well, different kind of sports and physical activities we offer. When we arrive in a company, for example, to make Excel is a really good example, because what we do is just what Excels do, but in other companies. When you arrive in a company and you make sport or physical activity for all, whatever is the sports condition, physical condition, you are inside, you don't have to move, you don't have to have a travel, to take your car and so on. We also imagine how the company can use sport and physical activity to come to the company, walk, bicycle, that kind of things. Because when we arrive in a company, we try to have a global vision on what physical activity and sports can do. And when we organize some big events, like we organized last year in Bordeaux, European Company Games, we have had 8,000 people. We have to imagine how this event can be the less have the less impact on the society first, but also on climate. So we choose where Bordeaux. We choose Bordeaux because of it's easy to reach by train, because it's a good place to travel inside the city by public transportation. So we have to imagine where and how, of course. So all the activities we organize, sports, but when we organize games, we have also to take care about the goodies, about the food and so on. We try to imagine some solution on site. For example, all the food we organize for the 8,000 people were with a local resource, with a local also cookers. But it's difficult because I spoke about goodies, for example. We can't find for this kind of event t-shirts coming from the, you have to come to negotiate with your conscience to take care of about China or Pakistan things. So all the organization we make have to take care about this, but we have also to make something we don't like to do. And the other point which is really important on all sports activities is water. And we have years and years of plastic bottles. So now we try to have, but it's not so easy to have a solution when you organize a run for diversity, for example. You have 2,000 people running. You have to take care about how they will have a drink or so on. And it's not so easy to find a solution. So we work on it and try to find solutions.
Yeah, I think it's quite an interesting subject also for that, is that at the moment probably we won't have all the answer about how to organize a perfect event that can be at local to European or international level without having environmental impact and having this kind of impact. So it's definitely something where I guess we need to be, what you say, what you did, like to be honest and say like sometimes it's still dealing with something that you don't want to do, but you don't have the perfect answer at the moment to do so. And I think it's quite interesting discussion. Also, I remember that we had a past conference on the subject, and there was a guy that was developing say water box or something like this to distribute good water to high level teams in basketball in France. And it was really feeling like something like you're trying to develop and trying to propose, and it's not like people are still looking at this. If it was something like super new and quite difficult to understand at the moment. So I guess it's like this path of accepting this idea of it's a path, and it's like improving and improving toward at the end something that will be we all hope something more sustainable and an organization of events, sportive events that will be definitely responsible toward the environment. So thank you very much for sharing this with us. I will give the floor to Younes Nezar. Younes Nezar, you are the coach captain of the Climate Workout and also the co-founder of an association that is named Climato Sportive. Maybe to introduce a bit the Climate Workout, I did understand that it was an organization that do workshop or meeting within the companies to raise awareness about this environmental sustainability that we all need to adapt and adopt, let's say, by doing physical activity and sport. So you're really matching 100% the thematics of the of today. So can you explain a bit more your methodology and your action and why you're using physical activity as a way of raising awareness about climate change and sustainability?
Yes, thank you. I think the climate workout sounds like really clear. It is a workout, and during it lasts like 1 hour. It's a team building tool that we created with Mathieu Ridwood and Audrey Borowski, the two co-founders of the tools. And yeah, this is actually a workout session that aim to raise awareness about the climate change and the global warming and actually the main issues of the things. And why are we using the sport? I think three main reasons. The first one is the learning by doing things. We think that, and actually the science proves that we learn things better by moving, by doing the things. So that's why we are using sport. The second thing is that sport is actually a fun thing. We create like all storytelling about the workout, and we are using also the music as a tool during the workout. Just like a Zumba workout, that's actually quite the same, but we are raising awareness in environmental issues because we are talking about carbon quiz and so on. And yes, so I said the emotion, the fun, and the last thing is motion by learning by doing. This is actually the three main aspects that we are choosing sport. Nowadays, we are aiming to raise awareness about 20,000 people on the year. We actually already sensibilize, like raise awareness about 300 people. So that's the goal of the year for us.
Thank you very much for sharing with us this methodology and your action. I think it's also quite a good idea and maybe something that will inspire a bit for the next organization of sport events to also see not only this what I was mentioning before, not only this need to adapt, but also this way of raising awareness by using, as you say, Younes, something that is fun, that communicate emotions, and that can communicate a positive message.
Yes. So actually, the global warming is not a good vibes issue subject. So we approach game designers, we approach physiotherapists, behavioral scientists also to create a tool that corresponds to the main issues, global warming, but also use actually the main good things about games and all the stuff that can engage people and make them probably committed in the environmental issues at the end. So.
Okay. And how is it working inside workout? Are you like working on special issues, like I don't know, like selective? I don't know how to say.
Yeah,
Or is it like a,
we try to every workout is adapted to the company we are mainly propose the workout, and if they want to have a focus of in the transport area, for instance, we can develop a special and a special workout to discuss about the subject. But actually, we are trying to get the machines how we can in the general issue to get like a global eye on the issues. And we are also working, for example, I was in the French Ministry of Sport 2 weeks ago to propose them a special workout, but mainly around the sports events and the environmental footprint of the sport events. So we are trying to adapt the workout at the issues encountered by the company.
okay, thank you very much, and you did for me a really well transition for the next speaker, Clara. Sport and Citizenship was a partner of a European project that was called European Social Charter Sport Events, led by the European Association of Sport Employers, alongside, for instance, Paris 2024, and also the organizing committee of the French World Cup. And so there was this idea of promoting a social and an eco-responsible charter for big events, such as the Olympic Games or World Championship in collective sport, would say. Can you explain us what were the main recommendations of the project regarding the environmental responsibility of the main sport event?
Yes, thank you, Eva. So indeed, sport and citizenship was a part of this European project called the European Social Charter for sport events. So this is just a brief summary of what the project was. It was launched in 2021, and this European Social Charter for sport event aimed to be a reference document in social policy in the sport sectors in the European Union. So as such, it really intend to contribute not only to the European sport policy by promoting good governance of European sport event, but also to the European social policy by ensuring the implementation of social commitment in the European sport activity and event. So this project is dedicated to focus on the social responsibility of sport event organizer, because they are the most concerned one in the social dialogue, in particular concerning employee and volunteers, who mostly are just employed over a short period, even if obviously all events are different. So the objective of this charter was really to be used and be able to adapt to the largest audience possible among sports events. So to be this charter can be adapted to any event, so like big event or small grassroots sport event. So after 3 years of reflection and testing with the partner, you mentioned we were partnering with the Paris 2024, the organizing committee of also the Rugby World Cup in France. So with the partner, we test and reflect on this document. And at the end, we established 13 different guidelines. And this charter was structured around 3 different pillars. So the first, the governance, firstly governance, which must respect the diversity of the event and to consult all stakeholders when they take part into important decision. Then the focus was made on the workforce, with employees who must gain experience in the event, the volunteers who must keep their fundamental right without any kind of discrimination. And finally, we focus on sustainability issue to make the event more respectful of its territory, This last aspect is really essential if we want to think about the durability of our model in favor of positive social impact of sport. So among those 13 different commitments, 4 was related to the sustainability of the project. And on the sustainability measure, the first commitment was to implement a procurement strategy that benefits to the local economy. Because yes, sport events have a significant economic impact on the local community where they occur. So as this result, this impact must be considered when examining how to procure, for example, the goods and the services necessary for the event's organization and the production method. And this strategy really aims to be useful for the local support and trust. And the recommendation associated with this commitment is to develop, of course, and implement a procurement strategy in compliance with existing legislation at the local level. The second commitment is to have an equipment and infrastructure management policy. Such a policy may be thought out in such a way as to have a beneficial impact on the local community by allowing it to make continuous use of the equipment and infrastructure developed during the preparation of the sport event. We are talking a lot about this issue with the Olympic Games in Paris 2024. So the main recommendation linked to this commitment is to establish a policy for the management of equipment and infrastructure that align with the local community interests and limit, of course, the environmental impact. But of course, to use first existing local facility and infrastructure to implement a strategy of environmental optimization and to reuse the existing infrastructure and to reuse it for the event's need. The third commitment is to have a sport legacy strategy. We talked a lot about legacy of big events. So sport being a social well-being, the organizer of sport event must develop a strategy promoting the practice of sport and voluntary engagement in the hosting community. So it was really important when we were drafting this charter to develop a legacy strategy promoting the community involvement in project and associative life based on a program to promote sport and physical activity throughout the event lifespan, particularly among young and older people. But also to ensure that all sport equipment purchased and produced for the event benefit at the end to the local community. And finally, the last commitment of this charter regarding the sustainable aspect was to build an environmental strategy by integrating the environmental impact of the event into the decision-making process. So by engaging in this charter, the organizer must take measures to reduce its potential negative impact on the environment. So by developing a real and concrete environmental strategy for the event, including measure and at reducing carbon footprint, ensuring sustainable food supply, transport, waste management, and etc. And also to preserve the natural site and resources where the event will take place. So yeah, that's a short summary. I hope it's so short of the 4 main commitments on the social, on the sustainability aspect of this charter. And now the objective of all the partners and of the leader of this project is to disseminate this charter and to we want collectively to this charter to have an impact at the EU level and also at the local level.
Yeah, thank you very much. I do think that it's totally relevant for any kind of event that you can have at a local, national, or European, international level. It's definitely something that we need to think of, is that each time that you're organizing an event at any kind of level, to first, what you say, discuss with the local municipalities, the impact it can have on them, and what they expect. Also, you were talking about the social impact or the heritage of the competition. I think it's something that needs to be discussed. What you are expecting of this kind of event, and also like the environmental responsibility you were mentioning at the end, to see the impact. And also, I think it's definitely super important to adopt this way of measuring each time that you are developing an event, measuring the footprint and the carbon footprint, and the impact you can have on the environment where you're organizing this event. So thank you very much for this. I don't know if it was joining less or more what you discussed. You mentioned this meeting that you had at the museum about the organization of event, eco-responsible event. I guess it was less or more on this subject, how to organize an event, or was there like more I'm gonna say like more stuff that you discussed, or other topics that you discussed to organize more responsible event? Was it more this, or it was on the?
Yes, indeed. Actually, I think 80% of carbon footprint of a typical event is in the transport area. It's meant about visitors, athletes, and the staff also. So there is a lot of things that we have to do in this area, but not. It doesn't mean that we don't have to ignore the 20% rest. So yeah, actually, this charter, I think I will take a look after to get.
Then you will say if we need to implement a bit more on the transport side or something like this. But yeah, I think it's what you already mentioned, Frederic, by organizing, for instance, in Bordeaux. It's typical way of saying, okay, you know that if they accept to do it, main large number of your participants will be able to join in train, and on site they can make a move thanks to public transport. So it's definitely something I think that should be a tick at the beginning, like, okay, if you don't have that, basically it's that probably it's not the right place to organize this event. So yeah, and I do think it's something that what we mentioned earlier also through what you say, UNES is not only I'm saying like a way to adapt. It's also this sport event or any kind of sport activities can be the right place to raise awareness about eco-responsibility and climate change. It's also something that we are working on since quite a few years at the Spartan Citizenship through several European projects. So yeah, I think it's this attitude that can be really interesting of saying into your sport activities within the workplace. It can be used for diversity. It can also be used for raising awareness about a lot of different subjects, and also this line of climate change and co-responsibility. Thank you very much to the three of you. I don't know if we have a question in the room. I was ready to be. Just waiting for the container. No? Well, thank you very much. Is Guy? Yes, Guy de Bob is there. I will just call you to for a bit of help to the conclusion of this conference. And thank you very much for being with us. If you want to join me, you're welcome. Yeah. Thank you very much.
It's working. This one is working? Okay, great. Ladies and gentlemen, dear organizers, Thanks for giving me the honor and the pleasure to close this conference. First of all, congratulations to the organizers, the speakers and the panels for the interesting and discussions and insights on two important topics. It's very clear that sport is a very broad and all-encompassing concept. Eco-friendliness, diversity, sustainability are not just very popular and widely used terms, but aspects that deserve all our attention and need to be explored further and implemented in the sport context. Today, sport, movement, physical activity in the company setting has become, may I say, at last, an important part of the well-being strategies and policies. The shift from sport practice as pure fun and pleasure to the awareness that sport and physical activity are part of a holistic approach encompassing physical and emotional health, work-life balance, etc. That shift has taken decades. Today, the positive impact of physical activity is acknowledged by an ever-increasing number of companies. Undeniable and invaluable is the role of the European Commission in this awareness process. The Commission has long recognized the value of physical activity for workers and has been instrumental in promoting programs such as the European Week of Sport and Erasmus Plus Sport that have revolutionized the sporting landscape across Europe. They facilitate employee participation, provide funding and resources to organizations that promote healthy lifestyles and encourage employees to stay active, to participate in physical activities that they may not have been able to access otherwise. These programs not only benefit employees' health and well-being, but also contribute to a positive work environment and an increased job satisfaction, and create a culture of health and wellness for the employees. When you add to that the environmental commitment from the company and its diversity-related actions and programs, then the company increases its brand image and becomes a very attractive employer. It's a win-win for both the employee and the employer, I should say. Despite the numerous actions and initiatives, today's figures are still rather dramatic. The Commission's recent Eurobarometer 2022 survey highlighted the low levels of physical activity in European workplaces, with only 14% of employees engaging in physical activities at work and only 44% of European companies offering sports or physical activity programs. For sure, sedentary lifestyle has settled in. Sitting is indeed the new smoking, so much so that inactivity has been identified by the World Health Organization as the 4th leading risk factor for mortality worldwide. Data extracted from the Erasmus Plus Pact project in 2018, also co-funded by the EU project, tell us that 210 million Europeans are physically inactive. 210 million, representing a minimum annual cost of 80 billion euros. The study also established that 66% of European local decision makers are not aware of this situation. It's incredible and staggering statistics. This worrying trend has not escaped the attention of the European Federation for Company Sport, so much so that after numerous years of focusing on the organization of the biannual European Company Sport Games, EFCS applied for the first time in 2014 for funding through the Erasmus Plus sport programs and has continued to do so, and not without success. Since EFCS 5 projects and was partner in 7. And only last week, EFCS introduced 2 new applications as leader. One on transforming work and study environments through active design and improved mental and physical health of young workers. And the second one concerns the organization of Olympiads in 7 countries and a sport and conference event in Strasbourg during the European Week of Sport. Having said that, promoting physical activity in the company is still the core business of EFCS. Moreover, EFCS has not neglected the environmental and diversity aspects. The creation in 2014 of a committee dedicated to diversity in order to examine issue from a company's perspective is one example. EFCS's commitment by giving due consideration to eco-friendly transport, minimizing waste, local sourcing, etc. during the recent organized company sport games in Bordeaux is another one. And finally, I would like to reflect on a project that was introduced by the French Federation for Company Sport, which is the leading force in EFCS. The project, called Work, Move and Performance, gathers a consortium of 8 partners from 5 different countries and started in January 24. This new 2-year Erasmus Plus project will be the first European study on the effects of sport and physical activity on employee performance. The aim is to promote company sport through European qualitative and quantitative studies, providing key data for its development. The objective is to analyze the benefits for an organization that invests in physical activity in order to optimize the production factor. Ladies and gentlemen, my message to you is very simple. Keep up the good work, continue to give priority to physical activity in the workplace, and support initiatives that promote a healthy, active, green, and diverse workforce. Keep fit, and don't follow my example and develop a nice belly muscle. I don't know about you, but I definitely need a drink now. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much, Guy, for this amazing end of conference. I'm not sure I will totally follow what you say because I will invite everyone to first take a picture and then go to the cocktail. I don't know if it's a super physical activity compatible, but thank you very much for everyone that took part in this conference. It was quite interesting one, and thank you everyone for sharing your point of view and your the point of view of your organization about this subject. And as Guy said, keep on good work and hope to see you again. Thank you very much.